this video will contain some spoilers from Shadowhunters. They will not be heavy plot spoilers, but they will be like minor, mostly Malec character development spoilers, as I'm just talking about them. Okay, today we're going to talk about Malec, one of the best relationships on television right now. I can't say that definitively because I don't watch too many TV shows in order to like compare them all, but honestly, Malec is just such a good relationship, and once you just like hear me talk about it for multiple minutes, you'll either be like, wow, she's got a point, or oh my god, she's fucking crazy. So let's go on this journey together. For those of you who don't know, Malec is a relationship between Magnus Bane and Alexander Lightwood in the show Shadowhunters. And Shadowhunters is based off the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. I read the whole series. I really enjoyed it at the time. But as I started thinking more critically about like the themes in the book and the way everything was written, and I read some like controversial things about the book, I'm more so like, okay, this book can live over there and the TV show can live over here. Shadowhunters is a great show, by the way. When I first started watching it, I did not like it because it was so different from the books, but now I'm like, wow, I love the show now. I have learned to appreciate the differences between the books and the show, and I am in love with the show. I love this show so much. Oh my god. But one of the main reasons why I love this show so much is because they take Magnus and Alec's relationship and they make it so perfect. It's just such a good, healthy relationship. It's first of all a healthy relationship, which is surprisingly like hard to come by with a lot of these relationships. Like they're usually just like, oh, one person has a bit of a power dynamic over the other person. Like it's never really like 100% healthy relationship that you see on like TV and portrayed in media. But Magnus and Alec have like such a good, healthy relationship full of respect and communication, and it just makes me so happy. Like their relationship in the books, which I will get to later, is really just sort of like toxic and not healthy at all. Like Magnus is really like pushy for Alec to come out, and there's like a lot of things that Alec says about Magnus and like his bisexuality, which is not cool. Like Alec is really like biphobic in the books, which is just not cool. He's not in the show like at all, and that makes me so happy. But in the books, he's like really biphobic, and Alec's really upset about the fact that like Magnus is immortal and that he's not, which I'll also get to later. But he's upset about it because when he dies, Magnus will like move on to someone else, and Alec doesn't want to be like replaced, and it's just sort of but the show isn't like that. The show is great. And the relationship is also a same-sex relationship, which is just, that's so great, because they're never portrayed on TV. The representation for them is just like non-existent. It's so sad, but they do it so well because like, first of all, Magnus is, I don't know if he's full Asian or half Asian. It's not clear. Cassandra Clare, the writer of the books, has said both, so he is Asian. Somewhat, which means that he's an LGBT person of color. He identifies as bisexual, which is great because the bisexual like community is always like so erased, and it makes me so happy to see them like properly represented in like a wonderful, like strong bisexual man of color, and it just, oh, it makes my heart sing. I'm so happy. And it's just so great that there are these great characters to represent like these marginalized communities. It makes me so happy. I'm just like, yes, their relationship is just so good. Now, I'll admit, I did not like their relationship in the first season. I loved their relationship in the books until I read more into it, and I was like, oh, this relationship is actually not that healthy and not that nice, you know. If you've read the books and you're like in love with the books, you may not realize like all the issues with it like I did, but like when you read through some of the things that they say, you're just sort of like, oh, okay, Alec and Magnus maybe aren't too healthy for each other. There are some good parts to it. Like, I really liked how in the books Magnus was very patient with Alec and making sure that Alec had the time he needed to be, like, okay with himself and okay with being gay, and, like, took the time to come out. Even though, like, I think in the third book he was a bit pushing it, and I was just like, okay. But he, in my opinion, in the books, gave Alec a lot more time than in the show, but I'll get to that. So yeah, their relationship in the first season was just sort of, because I felt like Magnus was really pushing at Alec. Like, he saw him for the first time, was like, oh my god, I'm in love with you. And Alec, like, felt the same thing, but Magnus was really pushing it, like, you love me. I know that you love me. I'm like, you've known him for, like, 2 months, okay? Calm down. And, like, I didn't like the whole storyline with, like, Alec and Lydia, where they had to get, like, married for some reason, because Alec thought it would save his family name. Like, it made no sense, and how much it, like, hurt Magnus made no sense, because I was like, you don't know him though. You've talked to him maybe once. I don't know if there was some scenes that they cut out that would like help explain their relationship and how strong of a tie that Magnus had to him. Like episode 4 maybe, when Alex stayed the night at Magnus's house to help him clean it up after like Luke. What was wrong with Luke? After Luke wasn't feeling good, infected, he had some werewolf thing. I don't remember, man. Like, maybe there were some more scenes there that would show how their relationship developed and why Magnus was, like, so stressed about the fact that Alec was getting married to not him. But, yeah, it just felt really pushy. Like, the scene where Magnus was like, I know you feel what I feel, Alec. And I'm like, how? How do you know this? Like, their relationship was just so forced in season 1. But now in season 2, it's so good. It's so good and healthy. And because a lot of the issues in season 1 were like based off of like no communication, because Alec was like repressing his feelings a lot, which I feel like was good to show his character development now in season 2. But I also feel like it like really hindered their relationship and like the ability for it to grow and have a good foundation to grow off of. So season 1 was rocky for them, except for the kiss. They named the whole episode Malec. That's how extra we are as a fandom, that we love Malec so much. They're like, yes, we will give you all the fan service and name season 1 episode 12 Malec. But it was so good. I love their kiss in that. Their kiss is just, it's so emotional. Everything that goes on in that scene, oh my god. Every time I watch that kiss, that whole scene, I lose my damn mind. Like, I'm still not over it, because it was so dramatic. Watching Lydia about to take the stele and like write on Alex so that they would be bound together forever, and Magnus just like burst in the door and Alex sees him, and then they see each other, and then Maurice, that fucking bitch, I hate her. I hate Alex's mom so much. Oh, she's an awful person. She's so like discriminatory towards downworlders, and I'm like, he is a great person. Magnus is a great person. Like, there's nothing wrong with him. Like, his reputation. Maurice, you can go fuck off. Hate her. Anyway, she goes up to Magnus and she's like, leave this wedding now. And then Magnus is like, no, I'm staying. I will only leave if Alec tells me to leave. And then Alec like is talking to Lydia up at the altar, and he's like freaking out because he's like, oh my god, he's here and I'm about to get married. This is not what I want. I love him. And I'm like, yes, you do. Like, I know that he loves him, but he doesn't know that he loves him yet. Therefore, all of Magnus's feelings are just uncalled for, but I get that he loves him because I know how the storyline's gonna go. They're in love. But anyways, he's talking to Lydia, and Lydia's like, it's okay, I get it, you love him, I'll be fine, you go after him, because Lydia's a great person. I did not like her when we first met her, because she was so obnoxious and bitchy and pushy, but I love her. I love her now. She has redeemed herself in my eyes. I love Lydia. As I was saying, Alec goes to Magnus, and he's like walking down the altar, and it's really dramatic, because it's not just dramatic because of the scene, the song in the background, War of Hearts, is so perfect for this scene. It's just such a great song. They timed the song perfectly, because before, like, the whole chorus with all the dramatic like lines in it, there's like tiny piano keys in the background, and it's just like so dramatic as Alec is making the decision to walk down the aisle to where Magnus is, and I'm just like losing my mind. And then it hits the chorus, and the lines are, I can't help but love you even though I try not to, and I'm just like, oh my god, this is their relationship. It's so perfect. They found the perfect song, and it's just so dramatic as he's like walking down the aisle. Then Maurice tries to stop him, and then she's like, Alec, what are you doing? And he's like, enough, in like a commanding voice. He's like, no, I'm not taking your shit anymore, Mom. I'm gonna go kiss my boyfriend at the end of the aisle. And then he walks up to him and just like grabs his jacket and kisses him, and it's just so good because Alec is finally going after what he wants, and I'm just so happy for him. This is the first time he's ever just like let himself be himself. He's living for himself, and I was so happy in that moment. I was like living on cloud 9. Life was so good. And this was also the first time I've ever seen one of my ships become canon on TV. I've never shipped a ship that wasn't canon and that later became canon. None of my ships that were not canon have become canon. This was the first I've ever seen. So I was like living my life. It was such a good day. I was dying, losing my damn mind. And it was so good because he kisses him and you could just see like the passion between them and the emotion in their face. And then when Alec pulls away, like Magnus follows him, then there's a small pause and then Alec goes back to kiss him again and it's just so good. It's just such a good kiss. I love them so much. I love them so much. Oh my god, I love them so much. I'm sorry, I just had to watch that again. Oh my god, that kiss is so good. And then you can see the reactions of everyone around them. Izzy, oh my god. I will do a full Shadowhunters, like, character show, like, talk, like, in another week. But oh my god, I love Izzy. Izzy is the one who invited Magnus so that he can make this whole performance. Izzy looks so happy when they kiss. I was Izzy. I love Izzy. Izzy's my girl. And then Jace. Oh, Jace with his little smiley smiles. And then Clary and Simon. Everyone just being so happy. Oh, the kiss was so good. I loved their kiss. It was perfect. So full of passion and emotion and everything that they wanted to say to each other up until this moment, and it was so good. I think I talked for like 5 minutes about the kiss. But moving on from the kiss, their relationship isn't like perfect because Magnus is a downworlder, which for the people who don't know Shadowhunters, first of all, if you don't know Shadowhunters, go watch the show at least. I get it, books are not everyone's thing, but shows should be. The show is so good. Watch the show. Downworlders are like part demon, part human. They look like humans. So like vampires, werewolves, warlocks, seelies, which are like fairies and such. Stuff like that. Those are downworlders. They're seen as like less than by the Shadowhunters, which are the people who go and kill demons because they are part demon. Downworlders are part demon. And like Shadowhunters are like part human, part angel. The Shadowhunters think that they're above them and I'm just, it's so extra. But yeah, their relationship isn't perfect because Magnus is a warlock, which means that he's immortal. Alec, a Shadowhunter, is not. Which, like, you know, provides a bit of a challenge when they're like, okay, Alec is getting older, Magnus is not. How is this relationship gonna work out? It was never really resolved in the books, which really pissed me off because I was like, okay, so Magnus is immortal, Alec is not, which means that, you know, maybe there's a fix for this. Maybe Magnus can give up his immortality. Maybe Alec can make some sort of deal so that he can become immortal. But then they adopt children, which is great, but one of their children is immortal and the other is not. Which just adds a whole other bucket of worms to this. So one of their child's gonna watch the other one die. So that was fucked up, but we don't have those issues right now in the show, and I'm appreciating that as it lasts. But they did talk about that a little at the end of season 1. Alec was talking about how, like, Magnus is immortal and he is not, and that was like a point of angst, but we sort of just ignored that. We brushed that aside in season 2, and I'm completely okay with that. We just need to build their relationship for now. We just need to focus on the now. We just need everything to be okay right now. And everything is okay because season 2 has been so good. It has been so good to me. Okay, there are some great parts in season 2. There is a great scene in season 2 where Jace is missing for reasons, and Alec is like stressed trying to look for him because Jace is like his brother. And he's like trying to get Magnus to help. And Magnus is really doing all that he can. But Alec is being a little bitch anyways because he's just like, my brother is missing. I'm in distress. So he goes up to Magnus and they have this conversation where Alec is like, are you really not going to help me anymore? Like, look for Jace. Like, I gave up so much for you. Like, when he like kissed him in front of everybody at that wedding. And Magnus is like, no, you didn't. You did that for you. You didn't do that for me. And then Alec is just like lost for words because he knows that that's true. And he's just like, well, what do you want me to do? And then Magnus is like, at this point, nothing. Because Magnus knows that he deserves better than to be treated like that. Their characters have done such a 180 from their characters in season 1. And that's what I love about season 2. Like, before, Magnus was like, I will do anything for you, Alec. I love you. But now he's like, no, I like you, but I know how I deserve to be treated. I deserve to be treated with respect, which is not how you're treating me right now. so I'm gonna walk away. And that was great. And that scene was just so good because it shows how their characters, in my opinion, really should be. And then Alec, being the great person that he is like, wow, I am being an asshole. So Alec leaves to go to Magnus's apartment to go talk to him and apologize for like the way he's been acting. And it's such a good scene because their communication is just great. Communicating is really like the key to any relationship. Like, there are so many good relationships that get broken by miscommunication, and they just don't allow that to happen because they communicate, and it's so good. Alec goes to Magnus, and Magnus is like shirtless practicing magic, and he's like, I'm sorry. And then Magnus is like, and because he's not going to take that, he needs Alec to realize what he did wrong and to make sure that he doesn't do it again. You know, that's what apologies are for, realizing your mistakes and working to correct them. And then Alec is like, I'm really sorry. And then Magnus is like, for? Then Alec talks about how with Jace missing, like, his whole world is shaken up because, you know, Jace has been like his rock because he's his brother. And then Magnus is like, I'm done with this. And he starts to walk away. But then Alec stops him. He's like, no. And then he gives like a really heartfelt apology where he's like, my actions were wrong. I'm just really stressed out with Jace missing. And I'm really sorry for the way I treated you. And then Magnus says, you are forgiven, which is just so good because it's okay, because it's not okay. He's like, you are forgiven, which is like the correct response. And it's just so good how good their communication is. And then Magnus talks about how when they're in life and they face challenges, you know, that's always going to happen to them because of like the life that they live. But Magnus is like, just don't push me away. And it's just so... it's so sweet. And then he like fixes Alec's jacket. And then Alec smiles, which is like such a big deal because Alec is such a moody person. Like, he's always just like sneering at people and frowning, but like he always smiles when he's around Magnus. The first time we see him smile in season 1 is when he meets Magnus. And that is like such a big deal. He only really smiles when he's around Magnus and sometimes his sister Izzy. And it's just... And then after that, like, Alec goes to some real messed up measures to try to find Jace and bring him back. And in that, he gets put into, like, a comatose state. His, like, soul is slowly, like, just slipping away from his body, and if it slips away too far, it will never return, and he will, like, never come back. So Magnus, being the great person and warlock that he is, tries to help him and, like, uses his magic to keep Alec alive. And it's just so sweet how much he cares about him. And then after, when, like, Alec is all okay, he goes to talk to Magnus and he's like, I know that I wasn't, like, responsive when you were helping me, but I felt you there and I really appreciated it. It was just so sweet how much, like, Alec cares about Magnus and Magnus cares about Alec. And then they talk about going on the date because they've never been on a date, and Magnus has kept asking him out on this date, which was really pushy in season 1, but now it's okay because they've built their relationship. And then their relationship develops even more in season 2, episode 6, which is the most recent episode. I just watched it, and it's such a good episode. If you want, like, my full thoughts on these episodes, they're on my Tumblr. Like, my Tumblr's in the description below. Just, like, search Shadowhunters season 2 on my Tumblr, and it'll show up. I have, like, notes on all my thoughts for each of the episodes because I, like, take notes about what I'm thinking while I'm watching these episodes. A lot of it's in all caps because I'm, like, freaking out while I'm watching these episodes. I also love Sapphire, but this episode is not about Sapphire. This video is about Malec. Season 2, episode 6 ruined my life. It killed me and brought me back to life at the same time. Like, I am such a changed person after this episode. It's such a good episode because it's the episode where they go on their first date, which is so cute. It starts off with Magnus in his apartment, and Alex shows up because Magnus sent him this emergency message. And Alex is like, what's wrong? Magnus is like, nothing. I just needed to send that to you because otherwise you would never show up. Alex is like, okay, well, I guess you're fine. I guess I'm gonna leave. And then Magnus is like, I'm not okay because you're not okay. Because Alex is really messed up because something happened with him. Not gonna spoil it, but, you know, a lot of angst on his part. He's feeling really guilty and he's not okay right now. And Magnus is like, you need to take care of yourself because if you don't appreciate the things that you love, you'll lose sight of what you're fighting for. And then Alec is like, okay, well then what did you have in mind? And they go on this date to, like, this little pub area where they're playing pool and drinking. Oh, it's so cute. Magnus is like a drinker. Alec is not, because Alec does not drink. He is not drunk, like, at all. They have, like, these little drinks. And it's really cute because you can just watch Alec, like, hate the alcohol, and Magnus is just like, oh, it's really cute. They're really cute. And then they go play pool where Alec is, like, doing really well. Magnus is like not doing too well, even though he's really good. He's just like pretending not to do well. And then Alec like misses one of the shots and he's like, oh god, can't win them all. He turns his back to take a sip of his awful beer. And then in the background, Magnus like makes a shot and 3 of his balls go in. And then Magnus is like, whoa, did you like use magic for that? Magnus is like, don't you know the saying? If you can't find the person hustled in a pool hall, it's probably you. I think I quoted that right. And then Alec gets like this smirk on his face. He's like, okay, let's play. Because they're both competitive people. And it's so cute just watching them. They're like, ah, just like having a fun time on this date. And then afterwards, Alec is talking about how he's competitive. And Magnus is like, oh yeah, I am too. I bet your ex has never complained. And he was like, oh, Lydia didn't really mind. And then Magnus is like, wait, is she your only ex? And Alex starts stuttering and he's like, oh, well, I guess I really just haven't had time for a real relationship. And it's just so cute the way that like Alex is all shy and stuttering because he only stutters when he's around Magnus because he's like, he's the older brother. He is very like confident in his ways. He's a very well-trained Shadowhunter, so he's never really like nervous or shy. He's very commanding and knows what he's doing, but he's only shy and stuttering when he's around Magnus, and it's so cute. And then they're talking. And then Magnus finds out that Alec has never been in a real relationship. And Magnus is like, oh, okay. Like, this little boy, oh my. They just have this really cute conversation about how Magnus has been in a lot of relationships and Alec hasn't. And just, I can't give this scene justice. You just need to watch it. You can't put it into words. Because there's just so much that happens in this scene. And it's so good. But the main point that I need to talk about is the fact that Magnus, because he's immoral, he's lived for centuries, he's dated a lot of people. Alec has not. They have this conversation when they get back to Magnus's apartment. And it's great because they apparently like walked the whole way here and Alec was really quiet because he was thinking. And then Alec brings up the idea that they could be maybe too different to date because, you know, they lived at completely different times, they lived completely different lives. Alec gets a little bit uncomfortable and heads to leave. But then he stops himself, which is so good because in so many instances in season 1, he has run away from his problems, but he is like, no, I'm going to stop and confront and work through them. And I am so happy because that is the character development I want to see in him. I want to see him communicate and work through his problems and not run away from them. And I'm just like, yes. He goes to talk to Magnus and he says, you know, I don't care how many people you've been with. And Magnus is like, I don't care how many people you haven't been with. And then we get their second kiss. It's so different from the first kiss, which is so good. It's such a good kiss. It's not like the first one. The first one was rushed and full of just like emotion. This one was just like, it was nice and slow, and it was just such a good kiss to watch. It was so cute. And then Alex says, you know, I hear that relationships, they take a lot of effort. And then Magnus is like, I'm all for effort. And I'm just like, yes, so am I. It's so cute. And like, that scene was so good. But then Jace needs to walk through the door. It's a whole thing that would spoil the plot, but Jace walks through the door, ruins the whole moment. It's just, oh. But it was so cute because when you pan out from like their kiss, because their kiss was like really focused on their face, when the camera like panned out, you could see that like Magnus's arms were around Alex's waist, and I'm just like, ah, oh my god, it's just, oh, their relationship is so good. I love their relationship so much. Their relationship is so nice and healthy and full of communication, and just, it's such a good relationship. The way that it's developing is so good. And in the teaser for episode 7, they are hinting at the fact that Magnus and Alec could have a sex scene, and oh, I don't know what would happen if they did. I would die. I would probably die. Like, I don't know what I would do. That's just, oh my god, their relationship. I honestly feel like if it happened in episode 7, it would be moving too fast. But like, you know, I'm not gonna really complain. Like, okay, so I forgot to film an end to this video. So basically, just to sum everything up, I love Malec. Deep in my soul. I love them so much. And the relationship is so good. If you haven't seen Shadowhunters, go watch it. If you have, you get my pain. Malec is such a good relationship. They're in love, and they're building their relationship on like healthy communication and patience and just all the good things that make a good relationship. And I'm so happy on how the relationship is developing, and I'm so excited to see where it goes from here. But the song in the background, War of Hearts, I'm 1000% sure that is the name of the song, but we're gonna double check. War of Hearts. Right? Yes! I have talked for like 20 minutes. I don't care. It's gonna be a 30-minute video. I love Malec.